All right, here's Freedom Fighters again. I'm going to show you the modes, the choices of modes you can play. Okay, I'm holding the right controller. Okay, the right controller. I'm hitting 0. With the other joystick, I move my ship to the right. With the left joystick, I move it to the left and go. Never to pick it up again. Now I'm using the right joystick the whole time once I set my guy. This is the way I got my 606. I'm going to show you all the modes. This is mode 0. Hit 0 on the keypad. Put controller left to the right and go. Now reset. Hit 0. Put this controller down and never touch it. Right controller down. I'm now using the left controller. Hitting 0. And this is a single screen where I'm never to hyperspace off this screen. This is the other way of playing it. 0 on the keypad. Left controller only. Single screen. So basically you're on this screen. This is probably the second hardest way. I'll show you the hardest way next. So basically here, you're on a single screen. Okay, so that's that. Hit reset. Okay, I'll stay with the left controller, never to touch the right controller. Hit 1. Single screen with firing. So you no longer get points for the seconds here. Single screen. You don't thrust anywhere but this screen. So you can't thrust off the screen. So you stay in this little square, this little section of space. Right here. You just stay right here. But you can fire here. So you get the points for firing, for hitting objects. But you don't get time score. The Freedom Fighters float onto the screen randomly. And you stay on this single screen. This is probably the hardest way to play. Single player. This is what I would say the hardest way to play. Because my high score doing it this way is 227. This is the way I was playing when I discovered it's very hard to get 1,000 points. And that's why I looked into the whole shebang lately, the whole Freedom Fighter thing. That's what made me look into it. The scores on YouTube, scores on Twin Galaxies, the scores from the magazine. Because I kept playing this way. This is the way I remember playing as a kid when I had this in the early 80s. This is the way I remember playing it mostly. It was the funnest way to play it. So you're just using this single screen. You're not touching the other controller. And you're staying on this single screen. You're not thrusting off. Because what the other controller does is thrust you into the next. Okay, so now we hit reset again. Put this controller down and pick up the right controller. Hit 1. This is probably the hardest way. Because now you're hyperspacing through. And you're staying in the middle without touching the left controller. So this is with firing, with thrust, staying in the center. Now I changed my direction, ship stays in the center. See it? The only way I could leave that center position is if I touch the other joystick. Watch, I'll stay in the center. I'm in the center. And now, the only way I can move from the center is if, the only way I can move from the center, see I'm going right, I'm going to switch, go left, ship staying in the center. See it? Now the only way I could leave the center is if I stop and then hit the other controller. Now I've moved, now I can go back to that. So that is the 2-player mode. That's what I was trying to explain this whole time. So if you want to stay in the single player mode and do it in the 1-player mode this way, you got to keep your ship in the center. As soon as you hit that, as soon as you hit the player 2 controller, like that, see I'm no longer in the center, so I can come all the way over here and go. So, I mean, that's all there is to it. So my high score, doing it this way. So I'll go over my high scores right now. My 4 high scores. My high score for 0. This way, staying in the center. Okay, staying in the center and thrusting for points. No firing. Right controller. Never to touch the left controller. My high score playing it this way is 451. 451. Reset. Put this controller down. Hit 0. And play with the left controller only. Single screen. Never to leave this screen. You can go from left to right. You can go all over the place, but you'll never leave this screen. This way here, my high score this way is 283. 283. Hitting 0 and playing with right controller only. Just like this. 283. Okay, now we reset. We'll stay with this controller only and hit 1. Single screen firing. My high score doing it this way, 227. 227. In this mode here where you don't leave the screen. You don't touch the other controller. Only use left controller firing. So this was option 1, left controller. 227. Reset. Put this controller down. Never touch the other one and use the right controller and push 1. Now this is thrusting in the middle with firing. My high score doing it this way. Is like, I don't have this one written down because I hardly ever played this mode. So this way here, I don't really have a high score that I know of. Though I have played it this way. But I don't think my high score is very high doing it this way. With firing, staying in the middle. Again, you can change directions, but you'll stay in the center if you don't touch that other controller. Okay? Then there's the other two ways to play, which is the way I got my 606, which is using both controllers but hitting 0. Move it. No, wait a minute. Wrong one. All right. You switch controllers. All right, so hitting 0. And then moving my ship. Using the other controller only to move my ship to the right and then go left. No firing. Seconds or points. This, my high is 606. Doing it this way. The way I've been playing recently. Reset. Hit 1. And stay with the same controller. Oh, moving my ship over. Okay. Hitting 1. Using the left controller only to move my ship to the right. If I can do it here. Okay, moving it to the right. Oh, one more time. And then thrusting to the left with firing. This way here, I don't have a high score as well. Because I don't play this mode. But those are the two that I'll try later once I get 1,000 doing it any of these 6 ways. So I showed you 6 ways to play one player. You can also play the way Patrick plays, which is trying to use both controllers throughout the game. In other words, thrusting like this. I mean, using the other controller to move over. Moving the left controller to move here. Thrust. Now coming to a stop, picking up the other controller, and then move around the screen. Like so. And that's really hard unless you make something that holds both controllers. Like a custom made thing that holds both controllers. So you can swap controllers. It still would be difficult to go from controller to controller because it's basically you're better off playing with another player. And then he uses that joystick. You use this joystick. He hypers. The second player hyperspaces. You fire and move around when he stops. So when player 2 lets go of his joystick to stop the ship, then you can start moving around. Then when he sees trouble, he can thrust. It's hard to explain. You have to do it to know. And I saw some of the videos. The only thing I can say about that is the emulation, though it seems maybe hard to, I'm not sure if emulation, the controls are as accurate as this. So I don't know if it's an advantage or a disadvantage. I'm sure it's not like using the original, joystick. I mean, this was built. I mean, it was made. The game was programmed to these controllers, so it's almost like an analog-y type thing. So and you got your fire button. So on an emulation, I'm sure there's some difference, but I mean, this setup right here. This is from Brazil. 3D printed. It's they're connected here. This is there's a voice thing that I have on my other systems that you know originally put out by Odyssey that you put over here, and it gives you voice through a speaker. Where this has a jack that you can plug into a radio or something, a speaker, and get your voice, the Odyssey voice, playing through there. So that's a pretty cool thing that I ordered off eBay. Other than that, I mean, you got to get an Odyssey 2. Get yourself a Freedom Fighters and some Challenge Series games, and try it for yourself. I mean, the game is hard. So here I got my OG, I never use that word, but original Genesis, and my Gemini, which plays Atari games. That was put out later, and it's Coleco makes it. It was made by Coleco, the company that made in ColecoVision. They actually made a Atari 2600. Pretty weird back then. It would be like Xbox making a PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? There's your original Nintendo toaster. I have a one of those what do you call those cartridges that have like hundreds of games. But I do have original games as well. And here's the original Atari controller, Genesis 6-button, Nintendo. This is a DVD rack. I just use it right now to put controllers on. And my son got me that Miss Pac-Man handheld. It's pretty cool. I was telling you guys about this book. I'll just flip through it a little bit, see what you guys can catch in there. It's a mini book by, I mentioned it before, just like ads and stuff and reviews, and covers like all systems. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a cool little book. I have the full-size version as well. But there's some pages. Cool little book. Jeffrey signed it for us in Hartford, me and my wife. Stay retro. So that was in Hartford, Connecticut, Retro Expo. I don't know what I got laying around here. I got the Genesis 6-pack, which I have in there. The box type that slides open like that. These are just my extra stuff. This ain't my game room. It's just the basement where I play. There's a Carnival for Atari 2600. Sonic 2. Because that has Sonic 1. What else we got here? One of my favorite music legends, Tom Petty DVD with his videos. Tom Petty, rest in peace, a legend, great music. So let's see what I can pick up here. Something random. How about a Metrix Passport? It's like a catalog that would have came with the games. Aaron Plays just did a little video on the Metrix. What do we got? We got Donkey Kong for the Intellivision, made by Coleco. It was weird back then. This is one of the best games we used to play. For the Genesis. Me and my cousin and my best friend Lee, we used to play this game. And Greg, my brother-in-law, you had to make the cut, and you couldn't go in the water and swim. We used to play hours and hours all night long on that thing. And then just some random stuff down here. There's my scoreboard for the games that I've been currently playing for the Odyssey, Pickaxe Pete, Casey Munchkin, UFO, Time Lord, Crazy Chase, and then of course Freedom Fighters with all those modes. So there you have it. I'm gonna call it a night. I hope this helped. I'm gonna do a more thorough video in the near future, but for now I gotta get some Z's. This is just a lot of extra things I have down here. Here's a cool 45. What do you call these things? You put your 45s in there, like a storage. Pretty cool little graphics there. Got to be from like the 60s, I believe. One of the best movies of all time. Sean Penn, Bad Boys. If you haven't seen this movie, do yourself a favor and watch it. You won't be disappointed. Another classic, The Champ. These were both in the early 80s. Great flicks. If you haven't watched them, that's my CED collection, which I plan to do soon, a video on, with some good movies there, some of the classics, some of my favorites. This is where I play the voice with the audio aux. There's Tommy Tallarico's Ferrari. This is the pinball place where we play pinball. Michelob sign. We got George Bush up here.
These acts were intended to frighten us. They have failed. Acts can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but cannot touch the foundation of America.
See? Babe Ruth hanging around. Sprinkles. Popeye. Just some random stuff down here. There's a 45 that melted. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I had it on my dashboard for the summer and let it melt. That is, actually I dropped it. Let's see if I can get it here. It is The Joker by the Steve Miller Band. Great song. I don't know, this is just my storage stuff. Got a little Luke there. Little Darth Vader there. Little stormtrooper hiding back there. My granddaughter made me that painting. See if I can't get that good. All right, there it is. She's a very special girl. I love her. And then I got my Superman hanging around here. And I got me and my father's trophies for bocce. Tommy Tallarico, remember? You were supposed to make a bocce game. My father would have loved it. I could have played co-op with him and my mom. And these are my softball trophies when I used to play softball. Fantasy football trophies. I no longer do that. A baseball fantasy thing I got, bobblehead. And then my 3000 hit ball and my 4000 hit ball. 4,000 softball hits on 10, 13, 13. 4,000 hits. And the 3,000 came on my son's birthday eve, 10/16/08. Mr. 3,000 hits. Some of my proud accomplishments in softball. This is my workstation where I clean everything, radios, games, media. Here's some of those CDs that I gotta go through. Longest Yard, Escape from Alcatraz. These I don't know how I got these, but I'm not keeping these. I don't really know these movies. This one I like though. Mischief, you never seen that one? Good, Bad, and Ugly. That's a good one. So these are the ones I gotta go through. Put those back. If y'all never use this stuff here, Goo Gone gets rid of sticker residue. It does a charm on it. It doesn't damage plastic. This kind. Don't get one in the spray can because that damages plastic. Get this one in the squirt bottle. That stuff works great. Old radio. It's a radio station in my from the mills in the orchard. Indian Orchard Mills. This is use this to rewind cassettes. Forward and rewind cassettes. I just use that for. These are other things I gotta go through. Here's some. Here's one of those K-Tel cassettes. See what it's got on there. Upside Down, Diana Ross. What else is on there? Got some good stuff on there. And then we got Van Halen, 1984. That's a great one. Yeah, this is just my my Pac-Man stool that I use to do my work. I'll go through those late tomorrow. Get my drink. I'm about to hit it. And that's about it. Down here, it's me and my wife when we were very young. It's like something I picked up at my father used to work at Smith & Wesson. And yeah, just some random stuff. I don't know what I'm doing here. Probably hooking up some systems to this CRT. Nice sharp CRT. Got my flat CRT and my bubble CRT. And that's a 3D TV. Plays 3D movies with the player. Got some 8 tracks here. I went through some of these. Here's one from someone from Tommy Tallarico's hometown of Springfield, Mass. And this one's the late Olivia Newton-John. Rest in peace. Sealed. 8-track. Got some cards. Remember those Wacky Pack cards? That's supposed to be like Planet of the Apes. What else we got? We got a reprint from a pack of Mickey Mantle, Wade Boggs, Stan Musial. This is pretty much all I got left for sports cards. You know? That's about it. I mean, I sold all my sports cards. And then here I got these are like those video game cards. And there I got a little Atari joystick that needs batteries. It plays sounds. Got some vintage batteries out of a boom box. They don't make these anymore. These are vintage. These are like those light ones that don't leak. What do you call those things? Yep. So there you have it. I used to have that hung up in my man cave at one time. Ended up down here. Pac-Man board game. The World. There's Italy, where my parents were born. And there we are. Good old United States, right about there. All right, that's it. I'm tired. Here's a vintage Christmas light. It works. Pretty cool. Some old school magazines. A Game Genie guide. I picked this up at a game store for like a couple bucks. Whoever that is. CDs. Simon. Y'all see the Simon over there? The 3D, what do you call that? Sony 3D TV. I gave that to my son. But yeah, the gold chair where I play my old school stuff on down here. And that's about it. I'm going. Good night, peeps. Good night.